All right, guys, so around about 7 months ago, I released a video on this channel talking about how we had sold our home and taken a 2-year tenancy agreement, so rented a property for the very first time. Now, the reason we did that wasn't solely because the housing market was turning. We were actually planning on buying at the time, but the transaction wasn't going to work out, so we had the choice of reselling or going into a rental. So the fact that we felt we were at the top of the market contributed towards that decision to take a rental. So now we're 7 months through, so that was at the end of August, and we're just moving into April 2023. I've been thinking about where the market is and whether I've been wrong in some of the videos that I've been making over the past few months. And I think there is one thing in particular that I did get wrong, and that's what I want to talk about in this video, as I know there are a lot of buyers out there, especially confused buyers, that aren't sure what to do at the moment and aren't sure what to make of the conflicting data that we are seeing in the housing market from different sources. So just to briefly touch on that, in the most bearish data that I could find, which is nationwide house price index, they are showing a current peak to trough fall of just over 6%. That is non-seasonally adjusted. So that is from August last year to March this year. Now, the other data sources, such as Halifax, they actually showed a few months falling towards the end of last year, but the past couple of months they've shown sideways and then up. And Rightmove are also showing that asking prices are up. Now, I don't want to get too hung up on land registry figures as they're so delayed by 5 or 6 months. They're basically irrelevant to the discussion at this point. But the leading data, or I should say the most recent data from Rightmove with regards to asking prices, and Halifax and nationwide with regards to agreed sales for properties that require a mortgage, paints quite a confusing picture. So I completely understand why there are buyers out there not quite sure what to make of it and not quite sure what to do. So I just want to tell you how I'm seeing it and what my plans are going forward. So firstly, was I wrong about the predictions that I was making in previous videos? I would say videos that I was making before Christmas, because I was expecting to see larger falls by now. I thought we would be into double-digit nominal drops. So at the moment, we are in double-digit drops when you include inflation, so real house prices, inflation adjusted. But nominal house price drops, worst case, seem to be about 6% if you'll go by the nationwide figures. So I think I have misjudged this. I think I have got this wrong. And I think the reason for this is I underestimated just the sheer stubbornness of sellers, both existing sellers and new sellers coming to the market. There is a whole new reality now in the housing market, but this isn't filtering through to existing sellers and to new sellers. Now, I think we are starting to see the early signs, especially with some of the Zoopla data that was released last week, that people are starting to reduce their house prices more frequently and more substantially. But I think I underestimated how stubborn those sellers were going to be. So that's why we've seen Rightmove asking prices either go sideways or up the past couple of months. And also with Halifax, we've seen them go sideways or up. So there are a lot of things happening which I think will become clearer the further we get into this crash. But there are things happening at different ends of the market. So we don't know 100% how things are performing with the cheaper properties. We don't know how things are going with the higher price properties. So I think what that is happening is that we are seeing data sets that are skewed by things that won't become clear until a bit further down the line. So house prices, for example, with Rightmove reporting house prices are up or asking prices are up, that doesn't mean that all house asking prices are up. Remember, this is an average, so you could have a couple of high value properties come on, and all of a sudden everyone's asking price gets pulled up. So you can interpret that as very bullish, that asking prices are up, or you could interpret it as all of a sudden there's people with massive expensive properties that think, right, I want to get out of the market. They put them on Rightmove and that pulls up everyone's average price. But we don't know this yet. We won't know this until further down the line. So that could be one of the reasons why data is being distorted. So my takeaway is data is confusing, and the best thing you can do at the moment is to be patient. I see in pretty much no scenario that this market suddenly rebounds. If you weigh up the the balance of two things happening. One, the market suddenly rebounding and going off and becoming even more unaffordable. I think that is very, very slim. I think there is a good chance of a good crash, but I also think there is a possibility of basically a once in a lifetime crash that could present opportunities that you may not expect at the moment. And when you balance that risk between the potential of the market suddenly rebounding and you not being able to afford the properties you can't currently afford anyway, versus a good chance of a reasonable size crash, versus a bit of a chance of a once in a lifetime crash, I think it's worth being patient. I really, really think if you're patient at the moment, and this is my core theory, if I'm patient for the next 2 years or for the next 18 months now, I think it could financially be one of the best decisions that I've made in my life. And this goes back to 2008 because I bought at the peak of the last crash. So I bought in September 2007. So I got this wrong the first time around when I was much younger and really had no idea about market cycles, how any of this worked. I got it badly wrong and I lived through negative equity for the best part of 5 years. So I am happy to be patient now, to sit back and watch. Now, I understand there are people out there at the moment that have to move. And if you have to move, you do what you have to do. Or maybe you don't have to move, but that property, that once in a lifetime property comes up that is expensive at the moment, and you know you're going to lose money on it, but it's still worth buying because you may not get the opportunity to own that particular property again. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't move, but if you don't have to move, if you can be patient, I think that is the best stance you can take at the moment. So yes, I was wrong about the speed of this and how stubborn sellers have been for the first part of this year. But I think that is going to come to pass very soon, and we're going to really get into the meat of this crash as we progress through the rest of the year. So overall, my core theory hasn't changed. We're in for a sizable crash, but it's just taking a little bit longer than I expected, and it actually may last longer as well. This could be that we see the bulk of the crash happen over 1 to 2 years, but then just a lot of long-term sideways stagnation kind of action in both the economy and the housing market for many years to come. I'm not certain at the moment we're going to see this bust and boom that we've seen in previous cycles. So I just wanted to put that out there. Yes, I've got the timescale a bit wrong, but my core theory has not changed. I'm just being patient. That's what I'd recommend for anyone that doesn't have to buy at the moment. Let me know what your approach is in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button. And if you want to see more from me, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see why I think this crash is going to be worse than 2008, I'm going to pop up a video in front of me now, and I'll see you guys over there.